You have tried the affirmations. You have set the goals. You have bought the journals, read the books, done the visualization. And something changes for a little while. Then, without knowing exactly why, you find yourself right back where you started. Same patterns, same reactions, same results, different packaging. Here is what nobody told you. You were trying to build a new identity on top of a broken foundation. In this video, I am going to show you why the order matters. Erase first, rewrite second, and why almost everyone gets this backwards. Think about renovating a house. You buy new furniture. You paint the walls. You put down fresh flooring. And for a while it looks great. But if the foundation is cracked, if the wiring is faulty, if there is mold growing behind the walls, that renovation is cosmetic. The structure is compromised. Eventually, everything surfaces again. This is exactly what most self-improvement does. New habits installed in an old identity. New goals running on an old operating system. A fresh coat of paint over a crumbling foundation. Most people begin identity rewriting by asking, "Who do I want to become?" That is the right question, but it is being asked at the wrong time. Before you can install a new identity, you have to understand what is currently occupying that space and why it is so resistant to change. Here is the thing that changes everything when you finally understand it. The old identity is not just a set of limiting beliefs you need to swap out. It is a survival architecture. It was built deliberately, layer by layer, to protect a younger version of you from specific threats. The family environment, the early relationships, the moments that felt like rejection, abandonment, or failure. Your mind, trying to keep you safe, created an operating system around those experiences. That system has deep neural grooves, emotional anchors, patterns that fire automatically before your conscious mind even registers what is happening. You cannot simply decide your way past it. You cannot think your way out of a system that was built below the level of conscious thought. And this is why willpower and motivation always run out. They are fighting against an architecture, not just a habit. This is exactly why the 4 practices in the Erase the Old Script series exist. Each one targets a different layer of the architecture. Shadow work journaling surfaces the hidden code. The beliefs, fears, and stories running below conscious awareness that automatically filter out new possibilities. You cannot rewrite code you cannot see. Shadow integration stops the internal war. The energy you spend suppressing and fighting the disowned parts of yourself is energy that is not available for building something new. Integration does not just make peace. It reclaims that energy and redirects it. Inner child healing addresses the root, not the symptom. Most limiting beliefs were installed before age 7. The inner child work goes to the origin point of the programming, where the old script was first written, and rewrites the emotional truth at the source rather than managing its surface expressions. And the forgiveness protocol severs the neural cords. Unresolved resentment creates literal firing patterns in the brain that keep pulling you back into your old identity. Forgiveness is not moral. It is structural. It removes the anchors keeping the old self in place. Together, these 4 practices do something that no amount of positive thinking, visualization, or goal setting can do on its own. They collapse the architecture of the old identity at its foundation. But here is what most people completely misunderstand about this phase. The discomfort you feel when the old identity starts to dissolve is not a sign that something is going wrong. It is the most important part of the entire process. And most people turn back right here, just before the breakthrough. They mistake the liminal space for failure. And that is the single most costly mistake in this entire journey. In Japanese aesthetics, there is a concept called ma. It is the power of negative space. The pause between the notes that makes the music meaningful. Without the silence, there is no melody, just noise. And in agriculture, there is the principle of fallow ground. Land that must rest and be cleared before it can receive new seed. You cannot plant an exhausted, uncleared soil and expect a harvest. Identity change works the same way. The cleared space is not emptiness. It is potential. But most people encounter that space and panic. The old identity is dissolving. The new one is not fully formed yet. The familiar patterns are losing their grip. The familiar stories are starting to feel hollow. That in-between space feels like regression, like failure, like proof that nothing is working. So they retreat. They go back to the old patterns because at least those patterns feel like something. And they miss it. They miss the breakthrough by one step. If you are in that space right now, the discomfort is the signal. You are standing at the threshold. Now, with the foundation cleared, something new becomes possible. Not just possible, inevitable. Because the second pillar of this work is not a separate chapter. It is the natural continuation of everything you just built. A cleared foundation can receive a consciously chosen self-concept instead of an inherited one. New neural pathways built on authentic desire instead of survival programming. Language, visualization, and daily practice aligned with who you are becoming, not who you have been. And here is the key insight that ties all of this together. The techniques you may have already tried were never broken. Goddard's assumption, Dispenza's elevated emotion, Zealand's reality transurfing. None of those methods were the problem. They were being run by the wrong operator. When the identity broadcasting those techniques is still the old one, it filters out everything that does not match the old pattern. It is like trying to tune a radio to a new frequency while the dial is locked. The first pillar unlocks the dial. One more thing worth saying here. Erasing and rewriting are not two separate phases you complete in order and then move past forever. The process is spiral, not linear. As you rewrite and expand into new identity territory, new layers of the old script surface for clearing. You will do some clearing, then some building, then encounter a new layer of the old pattern you did not see before. Clear that and build again. This is not failure. This is exactly how deep change works. Every new level of expansion shows you what is still in the way. The spiral is not a setback. It is the structure of the path. If you have gone through the Erase the Old Script series, I want you to hear this directly. You have already done something most people never do. You did not just read about change and feel motivated for a week. You went beneath the surface. You looked at the shadow material. You did the inner child work. You went through the forgiveness practice. You have done the hard thing. The foundation has been cleared. The space exists. And now you are ready. Not because the timing is perfect, and not because all the old patterns are gone, but because for the first time, you are building on solid ground. The script you have been living was never the final draft. And now, for the first time, you have a blank page. If this series has been part of your process, I would love to know where you are right now. Drop a comment below and tell me, what is one thing from this series that shifted something for you? Your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. And if you want to follow the full identity rewrite journey as it unfolds, subscribe. I post new videos every week.